Okay, there are many shows that I have watched over the years. And if you have the misfortune of following shows that I like, one thing that's going to happen to you, and I apologize in advance, these shows get canceled. I don't know what it is. I have the absolute worst fortune when it comes to shows that I like. But there is a show, obviously you've seen the title Stargate SG or Stargate Universe. I was going to say SG1 that I loved. Now this show came out in I wanted what did it say when I looked it up 2009. I want to say I think it was earlier than that. I think it was 2008, but memory doesn't serve me well. And sometimes these dates, when you look things up, it's not exactly right all the time. But I think the date on IMDb is correct. So maybe I'm just wrong in my memory. But it had some issues. The issues the show had wasn't a fault of the show, it was just poor timing. There was a writer's strike that a lot of shows were done dirty by this writer's strike, but none, in my opinion, was done dirtier than SGU, Stargate Universe. Stargate Universe had a collection of actors that worked on screen together very well. I think there's few sci-fi shows that manage to do what this show does. If you watched Battlestar Galactica, that's another one that's up there, which I might cover that one as well. My love for that show, the reboot. The original show is fine as well. I didn't really watch that one when I was younger. I believe it came out. I think I was either really young or it came out before I was born. Let's see. When did the original? Now I'm gonna go look this up. When did the original Battle Star Galactica air? Let's see what we discover. Okay, yeah, the original Battlestar Galactica aired September 17th, 1978. This was, of course, before I was born and ran for one season until April 29th, 1979. So before I was born, right before I was born in 79. And I did not catch on to that show, but I did watch the reboot on the Sci-Fi channel, and it was great. It was that was to me, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent because I'm supposed to be talking about Stargate Universe, but just bear with me. To me, Battlestar Galactica was a show that had one of the most satisfying endings of any show that I've ever watched. All the loose ends that I needed tied were tied, and the show had a magnificent conclusion. The writers did such a wonderful job. It's a great sci-fi show. But the reason I bring that up is the actors and actresses in that show, the writing was done well enough, and these people perform their hearts out. Their hearts out. One of the Cylons, played by Trisha Helfer, anyone who watched the show, you know, she absolutely knocked it out of the freaking park. To me, Stargate Universe is in that same vein. It was done so well, knocked out the park. The scripts were magnificent. The sets, to me, for a show at that time, it had some of the best special effects that I've seen in a show. This this show made me fall in love, and I did not know I was going to like it. I liked Stargate SG1, which is the first spin-off show from the movie, which, by the way, since we're talking about Stargate Universe, the movie to me is a sci-fi classic. Man, that's a great movie. But SG1 and Stargate Atlantis, two spin-off shows from that movie, was a little too campy for some people. And I understand. I like campy things. If I'm somewhere and the old Batman live action show Adam West is playing, I will stop and watch. I campy or not, I absolutely love that show. And I can watch every episode over again and have no problem with it. Nonetheless, Stargate Universe felt so much different than SG1 and Stargate Atlantis. It was darker, more grounded, better special effects. Of course, nostalgia glasses fog everything. You can go back and look at Stargate Universe and catch subtle things and some big things that it's like, oh, they could have done better here or there, but the show was still magnificent. So let's look at this IMDb and just read through a brief synopsis of the show if you never watched it. The previously unknown purpose of the ninth chevron. If you're not familiar with the chevrons, you can either go watch Stargate, the movie, or Stargate SG1. This is the different positions on the Stargate that allowed them to locate a corresponding gate that they would transport to. But the ninth chevron, especially in this show specifically, was a big deal. Is revealed and ends up taking the team to an ancient ship, Destiny, a ship built millions of years ago by the ancients, used to investigate a mystery as old as time itself. The team, led by Dr. Nicholas Rush and Colonel Everett Young, is trapped on the ship, unable to change its program mission. The team encounters new races, new technologies, and new enemies as the runaway ship travels to the far ends of the universe. And they kind of got, in the beginning of the show, you kind of see where they get shipwrecked. Pretty much that's what happens. But everything that transpires in this show, all of the different worlds they encounter, the drama, the alien race that's hunting them down, I'm telling you, this was a riveting show. It was even in the moments where it was more drama than action, the drama was even interesting. It was just the way all of the different plot lines was interwoven into the main plot, done well. And that's why I say this show was really done dirty by the writer's strike. If I anyway, I was going to get on another point, but I wanted to read. It was one of the, let me see if I can find it. One of the fan reviews. Yeah, this one right here. So on IMDb, they give it a 7 point, what was it? A 7.6 out of 10. Let me see. Yeah, they give it a 7.6 out of 10 overall. I think that's a low score, and I think this deserves a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but man, as far as sci-fi shows go, it comes close. And I think what this reviewer said is spot on. So this reviewer said the current IMDb rating for Stargate Universe is 7.6, and that is not reflective of what is one of the most underrated sci-fi shows of all time. And I agree with that. I think that rating is well below what this should actually be. I watched and enjoyed the original movie, but couldn't get into the spin-offs. They just weren't my bag. And I think it's for the reason I pointed out. They were really campy. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't one of those shows, SG1 and Atlantis. It wasn't one of those shows that if you weren't into the movie or you weren't into sci-fi, that you could just randomly stumble into and go, oh. But Stargate Universe was absolutely 100% one of those shows that you could stumble into and say to yourself, you know what? I think I'm rocking with this show. I think this show is exactly what I was looking for. And okay, so one of the lead actors, and to me, this is the acting. It is, like I said, it's some of the best, and it makes a great show even better. And this is definitely one of those shows. I tried Stargate Universe because I noticed the lead was Robert Carlyle, who did a masterful job, who is one of the best actors of his generation. Train Spotting, The Full Monty, James Bond. He's brilliant, and I wasn't disappointed. And I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. One of the actresses in this show, uh, Ming Na Wen was in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I am telling you, anything I have seen her in, if I see her face, I'm watching it. If I see her face, it's just good. I like her capabilities as an actress, and every time I've seen her on screen, I'm interested. And I think that carries for the whole cast and crew. This was just it it was one of those shows that when you go back into your mental Rolodex, you say to yourself, man, why did that show end? And like I said, that's hindsight being what it is. At the time, I wasn't really paying attention. At the time, I was going through a divorce, a lot of drama in my own life, and this show really entertained me during that time. Of course, I wasn't relying on the show for comfort. I rely on the Lord for comfort, but the show was something that I enjoyed, and it really did bring me a lot of joy the way this script was delivered, and just from front to end, I loved it. You can actually find this show on Pluto TV and Prime Video, and I actually looked on both of them, and they are there, so you can definitely find them. If you never watched it, I will tell you to watch this show. I might do this more often because there's a bunch of shows that were ended early. One of those shows being a show I've mentioned before, Space Above and Beyond. It came out 1995, 2 years after the X-Files. And I don't know. I never looked into why the show got cut. I'm assuming it was ratings. It probably just didn't get the ratings that they wanted or needed, to keep that show going. But Stargate Universe was done dirty by the writer's strike. I think so. Netflix started streaming in 2007. This was in development, I want to say in early 2007, came out like into 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. What does IMDb say? What does it say? Where's the release date? Does it have that on here? You can tell I don't go to IMDb often. Typically when I go here, only thing I'm looking for is, oh yeah, what movie were they in? Oh, they were in this movie and that movie. Let me see. Does it say? Oh yeah, 2009. It says 2009, 2011. But I'm almost positive this wasn't around in 2011 because I had a traveling job in 2011 and this show had already ended before I started traveling. So I don't think that's accurate. I'm pretty sure it was 2009. Anyway, this is a show that should have never ended. I'm telling you, as a geek, if I had all the money I needed to fund a show, to bring a show back, this is a show I would 100% without hesitation pay to bring back. Now, of course, I know a lot of the actors are older. This was years ago. They probably wouldn't even want to play in something like this again. But the way the last episode ended, I think it would actually work to bring this show back. Look, if you haven't watched it, I won't give away too much. I'm sure most of you who are subscribers to my channel have probably already watched this show. But if you haven't, I would say go check it out. Go to Pluto TV or Amazon Prime if you have it. Go check out the show and let me know what you think in the comments. Did you watch Stargate, the movie? What did you think about that? For me, like I said, one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. What about SG-1, Stargate Atlantis? I watched SG-1. It had how many seasons? Let me see. Because I can't remember how many seasons Stargate SG-1 had, but I know it had quite a few seasons. Yeah. I did not realize it ran for that long. Stargate SG-1 ran from 1997 to 2007. Is that correct? I don't know if that's correct. So it says seasons 1 through 10. I'll have to check. I think that timeline might be off just a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong. Stargate SG-1 was good. And it came out during a time where some shows like this were kind of campy, but I think it was still done well. Stargate Universe was a victim of multiple things. The writer's strike, probably people that weren't interested and Atlantis or SG1 thought this was going to be the same kind of show. It was filmed different. It felt different. The writing was different. The approach was different. It was way more serious than the other Stargate spinoffs, and it should have kept going. This is a show, like I said, that was done dirty. Let me know what you think in the comments.